financial markets expect a deal. Do you expect a deal? And if so, what does it look like?
I very much expect a deal. We left the European Union on the 31st of January. The government is adamant and clear that we're leaving the transition period at the 31st of December. And so we must get a deal. And all the soundings now are looking very much towards a deal. We're getting great positive notes coming from both the UK and the EU. And I think Michael Gove said in the press today, it's 66% there. So that's just a little while ago, people were very scared about a no deal. And our members of the CBI, we just had a survey recently, and 77% of them want a Brexit deal. So there's no question that business overwhelmingly wants a deal. And we at the CBI have been doing our utmost to help the government to get a deal.
So I know that everyone wants a deal, but a lot of the rhetoric doesn't sound very good. I mean, some, like yesterday, the EU saying UK has to show all its cards. Do you just take that as grandstanding, or do you think, what would the actual tangible deal look like?
We're in a negotiation, and it's coming down to the line, whether you talk about next week, exactly a week from now, the 15th of October, and the meeting that's going to be taking place, the council meeting, or whether you look 2.5 months ahead to the end of December. There is this window to get this deal done, and I think whatever that deal is, at the basis, we have to have a free trade agreement that deals with the movement of goods, that is tariff-free, that has sorted out all the customs arrangements, where we know already, having left the customs union, we've started to do deals with the Japan deals, a very good deal from all accounts that business has welcomed. So if we can get a deal that is agreed, however basic that deal is, and we don't know at this stage how much it will actually encompass. But looking ahead, we feel that once there's a deal, we can build on it. So whether it's the security issues that are really important, or whether it's the movement of people, whether it's financial services, whether it's services, there's so many aspects of our relationship with the European Union that are so important. We want to now be able to have the basis to build from that. Whereas if we have a no deal, then that would be not only something business doesn't want, but you wouldn't have that platform from which to build from.
Which is the biggest threat to the British economy right now? A no-deal Brexit, or the ongoing situation we find ourselves with COVID? The British government is continuing to shut down large swathes of the British economy. It looks like even tighter restrictions are going to be coming. The Prime Minister's spokesman earlier on today talking about a strong link between the hospitality sector and COVID. Is the British government doing enough to protect us not only from a hard deal, but also from a hard COVID deal as well?
Yes, so let us just accept that a no deal is something that nobody wants. Europe doesn't want it, the UK government doesn't want it, business doesn't want it. So we are going to go for a deal, and that's what we're going to do our best, and I'm optimistic that we will get that deal. But that doesn't take away from the challenges that we face with COVID. But I want to just say that if you look back to March, where we were in March, when the lockdown was announced on the 23rd of March, and in my industry, wearing my Cobra Beer hat, we supply 7,000 restaurants that were shut until the 4th of July. So 3.5 months, there was no business at all. And businesses suffered a great deal. The hospitality industry that employs 4 million people suffered a great deal. We were testing in March. Our capability in this country was 2,000 tests a day, when Germany was testing 100,000 a day. But look where we are now. We were worried about hospital beds not having critical bed capacity. We didn't have the PPE that was needed. Our care homes were not being given enough attention at that time. You fast forward now, and we're in a much more robust situation as a country to deal with a second wave compared with where we were. We have the PPE supply. We have the Nightingale hospitals set up. The London one alone can take 4,000 people. Then we've got them in Birmingham and around the country. So we've got that backup. We've got treatments now that we didn't have before. And then the government support. I mean, the government has shown throughout, Rishi Sunak, the Treasury in particular, how much they've been able to support hundreds of billions. And listen, they've iterated. So with the furlough scheme, 9 million jobs saved, 2.5 million self-employed jobs. There were cliff edges in May, cliff edges in June. They listened and said, let's extend it till October. We said there's another cliff edge coming up in October. They've listened, and now we've got the job support scheme going forward. They've reduced VAT from 20% to 5%. They've extended the repayments on government guaranteed loans. So the government's doing its bit. But still, it's very, very tough, and that uncertainty remains paramount.
Do you think we're protecting the right industries? Should we be protecting pubs and restaurants while we're not protecting the airline sector? Why are we getting the different approach to different parts of this British economy?
The government's been trying to do their best. And, there are so many areas that have been left out. So, for example, people in the events and catering industry, in the theatres, they have not been able to operate all these months. There are many of them who have not been able to access some of the government schemes that I've just spoken about. So, yes, there are people who are suffering and who have not been able to help. And we keep bringing this to the attention of the Treasury and say, please try and help them. There's a group called Excluded that is trying to draw attention to this all the time, and rightly so. When it comes to the airlines, we are saying very clearly, the CBI just had a statement yesterday, please open up the air corridors. France and Germany have been having testing on arrival since August. Why can't we do that with New York? America's our #1 single biggest country. Almost 18% of our trade is with the United States of America. Why can't we have a corridor with our biggest trading partner? Why can't we test, I believe, is with Hong Kong is going to start as well, in terms of showing that this can work, where you can have testing on arrival, and then 5 or 8 days later you have another test, and then you're released and you can carry on if you're negative and not have to wait for 2 weeks. We can do that today, and I urge the government to do that.